Mhm.
Absolutely. And I'm still here. I'm about to start streaming live on different platforms so that people can see you. So give me about 15 seconds before you respond. I'm just going to get out of the answer because it takes about 15 seconds for it to get current. All right. So you wrote a book. Now tell us about what is the name of the book and where do we find it? How do we find it? Things of that nature.
Yes. So I wrote a book called Simple Methods, Smarter Decisions, a safety resource for recording artists, female recording artists. And right now it is in pre-sale mode. So you can pre-order it on every single ebook platform except Amazon. They right now they don't have the pre-sale option available. So it will be available on Amazon as of July 13th. It will also be available as a Audible. So you'll be able to listen as someone reads the book to you if you're in your car or something like that. So that option will be available. And then in September 18th, 21st or something like that, I got to go look it down my notes. It will be available in hard copy as well.
No doubt, no doubt. I'm gonna definitely order one. I definitely would like an autograph too, because you're such a phenomenal person. I got to put you in my collection with some of the greatest authors to me that I have in my personal library. So I definitely appreciate that.
Thank you.
Madam Cooper, if I may, what are some mistakes that you've learned that others are making currently? Because we know a lot of people, it's a small majority of folks that actually own their masters and their rights. It would have been like Michael Jackson, James Brown, Master P. I mean, like that club is very, 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 very small. How important is it for people to own ownership, or at least majority ownership of their work and their talents and their music and their movies? How important is it for the people that may not know?
Thank you for asking that question, because that is such an important question. And in my book, I talk about that, break that down on how they can do that. But we're going to talk about it today. We're just going to spill the tea right now because this is a hot topic. And so many artists are starting to wake up. And I'm loving it. I am loving it. And I want to see it more. And I want to see them just like shake up the entertainment and music industry. So here's the deal. Artists have what you call intangible assets. So when you make art as artists, it's called intangible assets. It means it's not easily measurable. It's not a physical product, right? So this is a physical product, but my note is not a physical product. You know what I mean? But it still holds value and it's not easily measurable. But here's the beauty of having a gift built inside of you that's an intangible asset. Because it's not measurable, that means it can continue to produce revenue for you, not only as you live your life, but as your family is living beyond you. And there's no cap to its value. You can shape and form its value based on how you build and market your brand. So it's important for artists to learn this, to always copyright their music. It does not matter what they say about, oh, well, you release your music, you automatically copy, it's your copyright. Yes, that is true, but you want full protection of the law. And in order to have full protection of the law, you need to formally copyright your music. Let's go deeper, okay? You ready?
Let's go. I'm ready.
All right. Also, you want to trademark your business name, your business brand name, whatever you're going to be using long term. And you also want to trademark any sort of a stage name that you use, any sort of podcast name that you use, a conference, a summit, anything that's very unique to you. Trademark that if you can. If you cannot financially do that, or just quite not sure how to handle that process correctly, and you're not able to afford an attorney, do research, learn as much as you can, and put things in place as much as you can yourself. But also there's simple things you can do to help yourself out. One is block all social media channels of your name, so that no one can get those channels, those different channels of your names. Then also make sure you purchase your URL of that name. People who know the process well and know the system well, this is the first step they're going to do. They're going to go do research on their own, and they're going to see if somebody is using the name and if they own the URL and all that stuff. If someone has all this stuff blocked, they're really going to kind of move on, probably more than likely, to something else, right? There are a few people who might put up a battle and go still trademark it behind your back. but you still own that stuff, right?
That's right.
There's some other things. We're not gonna go too technical. I also have a background in analytics, so I don't want to get all too analytical on you today, but you're like, oh, just break this down today. Well, anyway, but those are some simple things that you can do that I think is of high priority so that you will own your masters. No one's going to come behind you and trademark your brand. And then you will have to end up paying a licensing fee to use your own name for a brand that you spent years building. And believe it or not, there are people who focus. This is their mission to do this because they know there are lots of people who do not understand this. Let me share this one point. It doesn't matter how small of a following or how small or where you're starting out or how big you are. When you're growing in that space, you're the perfect person to target because one, they assume that you don't have the resources to protect yourself or to follow up on any sort of legal action. And they also assume that you're not knowledgeable and you're not going to pay attention to what's going on. So you are the perfect target for the people who will trademark your brand behind your back. Let's talk. Let's get real here. You know, we got to make sure we got to change up the game.
Hey, we absolutely right. Hold on, is that your computer ringing?
Do you hear noise?
Yeah.
No, I don't hear anything.
Okay, my fault. Something was ringing. I don't know if it was me, but okay, it's cool. That's cool. I was just
maybe I'm breathing too hard in the microphone. Like,
no, you do it. My ears are really sensitive. It could be like next door. I don't know. So, I'm just making sure. I didn't want to hold you. Okay. All right. What you're saying is true. I love what you're saying. If we only knew at the start or the ending of the 90s and the start of 2000s, we would have bought whitehouse.gov. We would have bought walmart.com. Some people already knew that was coming. And then you're right. They held it. It was like an early version of ransomware. And they got paid, I don't know if it's millions in the case of Walmart, but they got paid a whole lot of money, especially with White House. Because back in the day, if you tried to get on whitehouse.com, it took you somewhere else to some XXX site. And I believe that's why they started creating .org and .gov, because the monies that they lost trying to acquire those things back was astronomical. Can you imagine if you own that domain name now, or even stuff like cryptocurrency.com, and people coming along and they really want that name? You're right. They got to pay you, if not millions, hundreds of millions, because it's worth just that much. So what you're saying is really true. And I appreciate you.
Yes. There are people who just trademark different names. Like you said, they see something coming up, like it's going to be super popular. They'll go out and trademark names. I heard, this is interesting, same situation, when I'm not much into sports, so you're gonna have to help me out on this. But the football team that has the Native American mascot, the Redskins or something like that.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Mm-hmm.
The Redskins. Well, of course, it's the Indian Redskins. Well, there, of course, as you know, there's been so much controversy over the years of changing that name, right? And so with like Black Lives Matter, they were like, we're going to change it. Do you know they went out to change it and somebody had trademarked, like, did you hear about that? It was how many? It was like 50 or 100 different similar name trademarks. So they didn't have a new name to switch it to unless they paid that person that trademarked all those names. That person, hey, knew it was coming. Visionary. That's a visionary right there. Knew it was coming down the line and they was going to have to come to them to get the deal done.
Hey, no, you're right. Including also in baseball, because I'm from Georgia, and in Atlanta, they used to do, they still do it. They don't do it as much. Remember the tomahawk? They used to do da 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 in the games and stuff like that. They were even coming after them too for that image. But you know what's crazy? Since we're speaking about that, I don't know if you're a history person, because I am. When we study back into history, just a little bit, I'm going to take you on just a small journey. You can look all these things up, by the way, that I'm telling you. When we study and we see, first off, Columbus did not land here. We all know now that's just a complete lie. They've been telling people for years and that he landed somewhere in the islands. Also, the word Indian is relative to, the country of India. However, in the beginning, the people that they saw that was over here first, they called them Indians. I think it's like INJINS. That's like a totally different meaning. Well, the Indians, or the indentured people, or the first landers that were here, look just like you and I. And we're the ones, when we learn about Thanksgiving, the pilgrims and all of that, they're talking about Black folks in America, or Axum, who were here already feeding people. And we already had tribes established. We already had like some type of national registry amongst different tribes, some types of laws, some types of governments too as well, where we were already connecting and talking to people. Even when you spoke about the image of the Redskins, even in Florida, the people were upset too with their image that's down there too as well. But the thing is, the Seminoles, but the thing is, a lot of these people initially started off, because we're talking about thievery, these were Black and brown people. When you look at the original definition of Webster before 1476, it says that an American is any color, copper people, brown, Black, light skin. We didn't all come from mixing with Europeans to be light skinned. It's always been light skinned, all the way down the shade to dark skinned people that's on this planet. When you look at people like the Igbo tribes, and you look at the Choctaw, these people that come from different parts of the country, these individuals never got through interracial race mixing, and these are light-skinned Black people. These are dark-skinned. I know Cherokees that are, as dark as midnight, and I know a Choctaw, this lady is light-skinned as Diana Ross. So the thing is, even with that, our history has been stolen from us too, because it keeps us away from the money. It keeps us away from the real true reparations, is knowing that some of us are descendants of Africans that came to America, but a lot of us are the original Americans that were called Indians or Indians. Then they need to pay, but guess what? You can't get payment because now the color scheme has changed on you, and you were cut away from that. Just want to add that in there because you was talking about the whole imagery, death, and things of that nature.
Yes. I've heard, much of what you're saying. I've heard conversations and had conversations, and what you have just shared has brought me to something that I feel called to share. And that is, as people of color in the US, as Black people, we have so much power and influence. It's just unreal. You know what I mean? And everybody knows it, but many of us. You know what I'm saying? You know where I'm going with this? And I feel like the day that it all clicks collectively is the day that the chains on our mind, on our spirit, our souls will break, because we will realize and understand how we really are moving things. We are creating things. We're supporting things. We are, we really are a vital part of what is how we exist and continue to exist, right? And how things happen. Like, we have so much influence. It's just overwhelming to me. It's overwhelming. We have so much influence. We can do so much in such a short period of time. And, and some things that I'm going to say it, sometimes some things irritate me when the way we use our influence. Like this whole thing with this Popeye's chicken sandwich. Like, I was like, how we influence the whole world to go out here and buy this Popeye chicken sandwich, but why are we putting the energy in that? But then I think it really, you have to really wake up and say, hey, people know that they can influence you to direct your influence in a certain direction. And once you, are able to say, nope, you're not about to direct my influence, my valuable influence, my powerful influence towards things like this, then that's when it kind of all happens and when we wake up. But I don't know what it's going to take. I'm just one person, but I know I was not standing in line for that chicken sandwich. I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to do it, because a lot of things that, we want to see happen in this country, we can do it, and I'm just ready for us to just stop asking or expecting people to do something for us that they've never done, and just start doing it. We are knowledgeable people. We are smart people. We are innovators. We are talented people. We are creators. Like I said, we have influence, persuasion, negotiation, Everybody wants to look like us, wear what we have, talk like us, do what we do, be in our space. Come on. I mean, it's just pure greatness going on, you know? It's just, I'm just ready for it in all levels. And it's happening. It's happening. We're seeing more and more millionaires in the African-American community in the US, and people ain't holding back. Music industry, people are getting serious about owning their work. You're seeing Kanye West is like, went from an artist to like a billionaire because he understands what ownership is. Damon Dash has been saying this for years, and people have been looking at him crazy upside his head. And I feel like the world is not going to really appreciate him until he's gone, you know, when he's gone. And then people are gonna be like, whoa, he's been trying to tell us for years. Rihanna, same thing. She's on that, like, hey, I got to own everything. She purchased her master's back when she realized the value of that. And now everything she does moving forward is about ownership. And that's why she hasn't been messing around too much with that music, because she's like, hey, I need to own everything. So that's what she's focused on. I went all over the place with that.
No,
but,
you didn't. They didn't. You took us around the world. You know, sometimes, you know, you need to get outside your neighborhood. You got to go around your neighborhood to see that you're living in a trap. You notice they call it the bando, the trap house, the hood. You got a hood over your head you can't see. That's why it's called the hood. You know what I'm saying? They blocking your pineal gland, your first eye. People call it the third, but really it's the first one that's created is up here. You know, it's covering the hood, covers your first eye, so you cannot see where you're going. So you can not only hide yourself from others, you're hiding yourself from yourself, because when you go to a mirror, you cannot see. Thank you for taking us around our areas in our minds so we can see that we're stuck in a trap. We're stuck in a hood. You know, the first hoods, as you know, or ghettos, were over in Germany with, you know, these so-called Jews. They had them in the concentration camps, and they later learned from that, because they brought a lot of them people over here. That's something they never tell people in history. If you enter history, even just a little bit, for those watching, or for you, Madam Cooper, you will discover and find that those Normandy trials and all of that, they only killed so many so-called Nazis. And I think it was under 20. They brought at least, I may be a little wrong, it's up to 300 scientists in America. And not only did they create the NASA program, they also created the standardized IQ tests. That came from them, that they were using against those people over there in Germany to make them feel like you're not good enough and smart enough. We're going to give you a test on some information you were never introduced to. And that's what's going to dictate the rest of your life, because you're going to believe in this institutionalized educational system. We're not going to show you no evidence of nothing you've done unless we control the narrative. You are freeing us from all of that.
You know what? You are right on about that. And there are people who are, we have different ways of learning. Everybody has different ways of using their genius. And when we're in a education system that is just structured one way, of course, many people are going to fail, because we're not designed to be all the same. And I would just want to share my story a little bit about that. I have dyslexia, so I struggled in school, and I thought I was dumb. I was like, I can't learn. And it wasn't until I failed my way into college. Don't know how I got into college, because I was failing. All right. Until I learned my learning style, because it was no longer someone controlling how I got to the answer. So, in college, you either got to float or get out, or you're going to get out the room, you're going to drown. So I had to figure out, how do I learn this in front of me? And once I realized that I was a visual person, I use my hands, I got to touch things, I got to speak. I need all forms of that communication in order to get the answer. And once I realized that, my brain would grab onto things and I wouldn't forget stuff. And I was able to tap into my genius. So many people go through school thinking they're not bright and things like that. And they're really genius human beings. There's something else I want to mention about our education system. And I think what I love about this time period that's happening in life is people are so hungry for the truth, and people are so hungry for information. We always talk about problems with the education system, but I learned more about why the U.S. education system was created. Are you familiar with that as well?
Oh, no, come on. Enlighten me. I'm your student this afternoon.
I'm sure you know this because you're a genius man. So I'm sure you know this. But created to make people be more conditioned for like assembly type work and factory work, and because they needed people to kind of like conform to that standard of work and need. And so they created these school systems to make people like sit down all day, and to kind of train them and condition them to do those things so that they would go out and do the type of work that they want to do the way they wanted them to do, to rebuild the economy and all this kind of stuff. And that still plays a role today. And what I find fascinating about our school system, and people ask the question, but people don't ask enough questions. And I'm about to give somebody a business that no one's done yet, that I'm waiting for somebody to do. We go to school, we learn so much that we never use. I don't use algebra. Do you use algebra? I just don't use it. Okay. I don't think I need it. And you will hear brilliant entrepreneurs tell you that you don't need it. That long as you can add and subtract and do basic division, you can actually have a successful business. And there's facts to that, right? So why do we not have a business where people are teaching people the essentials of living a productive, good life, like how to cook, how to balance your checkbook, how to set up a bank account, how to invest in the stock market, how to interview for a job, how to present yourself professionally. Like, this is so much. Everybody needs this. And we sit out in the world unprepared to live our best life.
You absolutely right. You know what? You're going to be our authentic Dr. Umar Johnson, because what you're saying is true. You don't need a big university for that. You could do that virtually, like we're doing now, like you're saying. And I'm pretty sure you do a lot of things virtually too. Especially when you're talking about, music meets the boardroom. I'm pretty sure you're able to meet people and to talk to folks you never have to physically shake hands with. So you're absolutely right. And you know what they say? A lot of times when we say something that you need or that we need, you're probably the creator. It is the creator talking to herself right now for her to even create, even if you have a director, a board of directors, even if you have a president. That idea, that concept, that understanding, it may spark in some people, but you are the original intended, because nothing else will be done right until someone like yourself comes along and really puts the energy behind it.
Yes. I would love to do it. And I'm just like, I have to focus on one avenue, but you never know. God may come along and say, hey, it's time to shift in another direction. But I do try to share that as much as possible, because there may be someone out there who's hungry to find a rich idea and to run with it. And I'm just giving it out there, but you never know. If no one ever does it, then hey, I'm definitely at some point going to step up to the plate and get that done, because we desperately need that, for our young people and to help us. And then, we grow up and we have all these problems and stuff, and people wondering why we so messed up. Well, we don't know. No one's taught us anything. We're just trying to figure it out every day.
That's right. And I know we use these words, like people always say, toxic this, toxic that, but you could be toxic. But if you don't, like you're saying, if you don't know what toxicity is, how can you ever find the cure? How can you ever diagnose yourself? Like you said, it's true. All you know is what you know. If you grew up just like, let's use the movie Color Purple, perfect example. I like using movies because they're great analogies for people to follow along, for those that will see this interview, that will listen. So you're looking at Color Purple, and we're judging Danny Glover's Mr. We're judging his character in the movie based upon Celie's character in the movie. And also, I would like to say, another movie, we're judging Tina Turner's story. We're judging Lawrence Fishburne portraying Ike Turner and her, and we're saying initially, which is evil to do, is bad. You should never put your hands on a woman. There's no excuse and all of that. Try to get away as much as possible. But we're judging these characters in the movie, but we're not looking at the conditions of the state that these people were possibly raised up in, like you're saying. Maybe from that man's perspective, back in those times, in that day, they thought they had, which is wrong. I'm not trying to make it right at no point, putting his hands on a woman. But if you're taught since a child, how would you know that's really wrong? You'd be like, my daddy did it, my granddaddy did it. That's all that I saw, and the women stayed. So your narrative has been corrupted from the beginning. And you're right. We should be also taught how to live with folks domestically. Because look at what's going on now with the pandemic, or the plandemic, however you may look at it. You got a lot of, the abuse rate is going up in households because people have never been forced to live with one another like that. Living with your parents and stuff, that's a difference. They telling you what to do all the time. Really, it's like a 99% they telling you what to do and you're listening. And when you get upon your own, you're right. You don't have the life skills or just conversating or conversing, for the grammar Nazis out there, that with folks, and how to understand when someone is different from you. It doesn't mean that they are lesser. Women are stronger emotionally. Men are stronger physically. But as a man, if you're never taught that, you got a real misconnection, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. You're definitely right. Yes, domestic violence is going up, and you're right. It's like you're so busy being busy and working all day, and you don't spend a lot of time with your partner. And then the pandemic happened, and you're looking at each other like, what the heck? I've got to spend all day with you. I don't even know what to do. I've never had to do this before. And it's real. My parents have been married for 50 years and they struggled with it. They didn't want to be left alone together. They're like, when you gonna come visit? Because we're tired of looking at each other, But then at the same time, they're so funny because it's like they're tired of looking at each other, but then they cannot stay away from each other. It's the craziest thing. But it's cute. But you're right. Exactly what you said. You nailed it.
And it's like, we have to understand, in order to fix the problem, like you said, to diagnose the problem, even if you go to a doctor or you go to a mechanic, you have to first discover what is causing the issue in your vehicle, whether it be your body, your plane, your house, whatever. Because, folks take better care than their vehicles and their possessions and their homes than we do our bodies. I know
Hello?
a mechanic, he can hear your car going down the street. He'd be like, oh, that's your alternator. Oh, that's your carburetor. Oh, you need to change your belt. Oh, that's your brakes, that's your rotors. I mean, he's that good at diagnosing other things. I don't want to put his business out there, but for his personal development, and no man is perfect. In his personal development, he cannot diagnose why he keeps having issues with different women. And I'm like, bro, it's hard to talk to people like that because they're not going to hear you. They do possess a level of narcissism. They do have a huge ego. And it's like, bro, okay, you're telling me about this issue, and you're saying that your girl found out that you was talking to this other girl. Well, how did she find out? His answer is always, I don't know. No, let me help you diagnose without being judgmental. What you're doing is you're living a sloppy lifestyle. You don't want to be with the woman, but you're staying with her. Therefore, you're leaving your computer open, the same computer that she's using. So all she does is flip up and hit Facebook and see that you have a login she doesn't know about. And she goes in and see you talking to these different women. And she sees you giving them your phone number, and she's getting their phone number out of the thing. We have to learn how to self-diagnose too as well. And sometimes some of us need to go to therapy. Within our community, we have this thing of, I'm crazy because I'm seeing a therapist or a psychologist, or psychology, whatever version, form of mental health that you're choosing to use. It's this narrative that you're crazy, but no, you're not crazy. You are a God having a human experience, and some things has happened to you. And now you got to find the right and correct medicine to help you heal, so you can either stop destroying somebody you're not ready for, or she's not ready for, and build your family, because you're having kids all over the place. However, I'm not judging, but you're able to hear a car as it goes down the street, and you can diagnose exactly what the problem is. It's like an unbalanced destiny.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And to a few points that you mentioned, socially, I didn't realize this. I think the pandemic just revealed so much, but socially, narcissism is rewarded in our society. It is. And it's unfortunate. It's like, it's a thing that harms us. It harms our community. It harms people. But then at the same time, it's rewarded and put up on a platform. And people who deal with it and struggle with it the most seem to benefit in some, they're rewarded. So, it's so interesting. And it's a lot of that is in our community. I think trauma, of course, increases that. And we deal with a lot of trauma. And there are more people who are getting help, and that stigma is starting to come off a lot more. I also think that, just our social structure and the pressure to like hide your problems because people are going to judge you, and the fear of those things, and how people are living a lot of lives that they don't want to be living, and you have to get to a point in your life where you just don't care. Like you just don't care what anybody has to think, so that you can have internal peace. And if you don't want to be with somebody, don't be with them, and people start families with people and they know they don't want to be with that person, but they feel pressured to do it. It's time to stop doing that. Life is too short to not be living your life true to yourself and how God intended for your journey to be. Everybody's journey is uniquely different, right? It is an individual journey that you may be sharing with someone, but it's your journey and it's going to look different from anybody else's. And that's okay. And if anybody got a problem with it, it's not your problem, it's their problem.
Yes. Yeah, stop trying to carry other folks' baggage. It
Yes.
will not work. You're not going to sex a person to healing, or intimacy to healing, feeding a person to healing, paying all their bills to healing. Everything that you do will be I'm going to say a complete waste. It will be unstructured energy of your time.
Mhm.
Because if they're not knowing that they're bleeding or willing to fix their bleed, their wounds, what can you really do? How many more conversations can you have to a person about their behavior and the things that they're doing? Once you have addressed something and that person is cognitive of it and they want to change, like you're saying, you can't keep talking about it. You got to now find some steps so you can understand how you can self-heal. Because if you look at the body, it does not need our help for a numerous number of things. Your heartbeat, involuntary. You don't have to tell yourself. If you are telling yourself, you're not in control of it. It's coming from your subconscious. You're not telling yourself to breathe. You're not telling yourself, for your heart to beat, for it's time for you to go to the bathroom, for you to see. None of those things that you are in control with, unless, like I'm saying, it's operating on the subconscious level near the soul. However, when there are things that are bothering you, like a cold or a flu or the virus or whatever you may get, you can go and get some medicine. And the medicine, as you know, is like truth. It does not taste good. But guess what? Later on, it'll make you feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. And for many things, the body has the ability to heal itself. It's designed to heal itself. And I can't wait until people start demanding more natural treatments for a lot of just healing, because there's so many things that simple stuff. I remember I went to the doctor and I had like this rash and I was like, what is this? And he kind of told me like what it was. And he was like, I'm going to give you some cream or something for it. But then when he told me what it was, I was like, all I need is some tea tree oil. And I went home, it was some tea tree oil and it was gone in 3 days. And I was just like, why would I go put this chemical on me when I could just use some tea tree oil? I just need to know what it is, It's just so many things, but we are definitely living in interesting times. And I am so grateful that we're having this conversation. I love intellectual conversation. I love smart, genius people. I love people who are smarter than I am. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know how to explain it or how to define it. Maybe you can help me with it. But I have this conversation with my friends. I'm like, I love people who are smarter than me. I'm attracted to people like that. Like I want to be in the room with them. I have no idea what they're talking about, but I can't get enough of it. Like it's not intimidating at all. I'm drawn to it. And maybe one day I will understand it.
Well, if I may, I'm gonna give you a definition or a word that you can also check the definition even for your personal growth and development. It is known as a sapiosexual, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Someone told me that. I need to go look it up more.
You are, and that's a great thing because many of us should be like you. We should fall in love with the information of a person that they're giving to us because it's a hunger that you have inside of you. Your soul, we think that we're walking, but no, we're being drawn. A fish does not swim. The current is drawing it in that direction. All you can do is, if you know it's a fish, that's all that they're doing. A bird does not fly through the air. It is being pulled to its destination. It's being carried to its higher heights. Like, look at like an eagle, for example. You are an eagle. An eagle flies high. It can look miles down and see its prey or what it wants to eat or where it wants to go. It creates somewhat of a tunnel vision, a VPN, so to speak. It creates a VPN or a tunnel around it, and it dives right down into it and is able to snatch a fish from miles up. And the eagle is so humble. It knows it flies high, but it has to come low and get some drink of water off the ground. And then it goes back to its destination. That's what you are. You are, in essence, an eagle. You are, in essence, an owl. People have associated the owl with negative things. They say, hey, the owl is part of the Illuminati. It's the symbol that they use. I'm talking about nature, which is nurture, which is one and the same. They try to separate the two. But just a moment, we'll go back to the owl. The owl, the reason why it's dictated and described or shown, depicted on certain things like the money and all of that, many people don't know. An owl not only sees in the dark, it also is able to turn its head 360 degrees. It can see from any angle, from every perspective. It can understand from any angle. That's what you are. You're like an owl. You're like an eagle. That mind of yours is vibrating on a higher frequency. It is searching for the essence of why you came here. There's a lesson in life that you have to figure out, and you never will stop until the very end of it all. This is who you are. This is the greatness that is vibrating, that is coursing through your blood system. It will not allow you to lack. Being a sapiosexual, it is, and no, and this is not in a derogatory term. It keeps you on a cosmic, orgasmic, intimate understanding of what God truly is. And like I say, is it not written in ye book, in ye law, for ye of gods? You're searching everywhere else for yourself. And that soul that is within you, that's below, that is sitting in your intestinal digestive tract that they call the root chakra, it is looking for something.
Yeah, I'm an information nerd. Like, I love information, and I'm always kind of like in that space. But I heard from someone, a researcher not too long ago, he says, once you kind of get into that space where you're loving to read and search for information, it can also drive you crazy too at some point, because it never stops. You know what I mean? It never stops. So, but thank you for that insight. I'm going to look into it a little bit more, because a friend of mine mentioned that to me as well. Being very attracted to the mind, with people. And I think that's the same thing that she was telling me too.
It was. Sorry, I went a little too long, but you do know the difference between the brain and the mind. They're not one and the same. They're two different entities.
Really?
Yes. Think about it. The brain is a physical substance. Mm-hmm. It's like a computer, hardware, software. You could put software into any computer. Do you know now they're talking about downloading or uploading people's consciousness into computers?
Oh, yeah. And yep.
So what is the body then? The body is nothing more than a vehicle. It's a shell. When you look at movies like Avatar, they're telling us they've been researching this stuff a long time ago. When you study like Hitler and the eugenics projects, that stuff is going to blow your mind. Do you know the Nazi Party? They had such advanced technology over the Allied forces or America. They literally came over here and flew into this space and flew back. They had long range missiles they were able to shoot back in the day from Germany all the way over here, when other people couldn't even shoot a missile from here to next door. They could, from wherever state you're in to wherever you at, they couldn't even shoot a missile that far. But the Germans had begun to master a lot of technology that they got from our ancestors. And people don't believe this, but if you study, you'll understand what I'm saying to you is true. The past is the future. And the future is the past. We get all of our knowledge from ancient times, all of our medicine. Go and study. Look on the walls in what they call Egypt, which is Kemet, the land of the black man, black woman. You'll see medical tools. Most people don't even know. When they take the Hippocratic Oath, that is to a black man named Imhotep that was in Africa doing surgeries at least 6,000 years ago. Some of the most ancient writing. This is why you say you have dyslexia. I say you don't. I say you read correctly. Most languages in the Western society, what do we go? We go from left to right.
Mm-hmm.
Ancient times, you know what we did? We wrote from right to left.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, when you look at hieroglyphics, you look at Chinese writing or Mandarin, it goes from right to left. And check this out. Because we lost our name, our culture, our understanding, our identity. When we write out words, if I write out, Latoya, what do you call that when I write it out? When you're doing a B, what's the first word in the B? And they say, okay, this is the national champ, whatever, elementary school, college. And when you spell out words, what is that called?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to follow you here.
Okay. It's probably me. I'm probably going too fast. When you spell out a word, it's called spelling.
Oh, right.
Well, no, I know it's
like sounds like let me stop. Like I'm sitting trying to figure it out. Like let me listen to you because I can learn something new today.
No. It's me. I'm going too fast. But okay. When I say Latoya, they say that's called spelling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's break down the word spelling. SPELL. Stop right there. And what am I doing with my mouth? I'm casting spells when I'm spelling. So, because this is not our natural indigenous language, I'm casting a spell on myself every time I talk. But the Western world is going to tell you something is wrong with you, that you have some type of illness or disease, but really you're talking in the right language. You're supposed to talk. You're supposed to read. That's why we created what they call Ebonics. It ain't Ebonics. It's the way that you talk. You've been talking this way since forever. Like the word Nigga. This word is not new. You can find it on the most ancient of manuscripts. There is a place in Africa that is spelled Niger. Some people going to say it's Niger. Some people going to say it's new. Inside of the pyramid and coffin text, they found and discovered that the word with the letters that we use now, Nigga. Do you know in India, or what they call, what's that place? It's called Angkor Wat. These people were known as the Nagas, Nagas. With the Moors, within a certain period in Africa, they was calling each other Nagas, which means king and queen, Negus. The future is the past. The past is the future.
Interesting. I am learning so much today. And I'm going to have a lot to follow up on after this conversation today.
Okay, I want to overload your plate. Just a few more things. Thank you for rocking with me almost an hour. You're absolutely dope. Tell the people more about Music Meets the Boardroom. That sounds so good. That sounds like a good show. That's like Shark Tank to me. That's all I can hear.
Yes. You know what? Thank you for sharing that, because that's kind of a little bit like, I like that brand vibe kind of thing. So it's right on track with that. So Music Meets the Boardroom is an organization that I created, designed to help creative, gifted people become more business savvy and to understand their gift and to understand and learn how to be the born entrepreneurs that they are, to embrace that, right? To be able to walk into a space like a boardroom and to be able to have the knowledge and feel comfortable to make decisions on behalf of their gift. And even if they have a lawyer on one side and an accountant on the other, they still know what's going on and they can still guide the conversation or, say, hey, you know what? I don't think that's what's best for me. And they feel confident being part of the decision-making process instead of allowing everyone to do that for them that most likely does not serve their best interest. The artist has the source, right? And it makes sense for them to be able to protect it, to guide it, and know how to use it properly. And they should also be benefiting from that. It is part of my mission to change the narrative in which we show up in the world as artists. I don't care that it's been going on for some X amount of years. I don't care about that. That doesn't intimidate me. That's not going to slow me down. It starts now. It starts with conversation. It starts with talking about our realities and what we're really dealing with and who we really are. That's who are we as people who've been trusted with gifts that we hold inside of us. And what is that gift? How is it viewed socially in society? Why is it treated a certain way? Why is it that I create art and I hand it to you and you go make billions, but then I'm told that I can't ask for much in return? Why is that? Like that mental conditioning, like breaking those molds down, understanding that we can start businesses and build lucrative businesses. The most successful entrepreneurs, if you go back and kind of dig in their background, most of them have a creative background of some sort, and they take that creative visionary element and they apply it to their business and to help them scale. And we can do the same thing too. So it's time for that change. And that's why I created Music Meets the Boardroom, because we're going to birth a whole new generation of artists who are in charge and making great moves.
I love that. Give us a little bit more about your music artist background.
Yes. So I've been singing since I was 3 years old. I came out the womb singing. Okay. And I didn't know how to go through life without singing, without music. And so when I was in my adult years, I started singing professionally and releasing music. I do have music out there. I haven't released music in a while. I think it's been like 5 years or so. I just haven't had the bug to do it. And I'm okay with that. But if I would have known what I know now, I would have started releasing music in my teens. That would have been a really smart thing to do. So I just want to teach everybody the process so that they can continue to build residual income for themselves and allow that to pay off for themselves.
I like that. Give us some good game, some good wisdom. Only Latoya Cooper can give us when it comes to the writing process. We want to know the magic that you create, because remember, when you write words, how you're spelling, and you're either this is your wand or this is your wand. If you ever notice with these movies and Doctor Strange and all that other stuff, even if you go back to Mary Poppins, Bewitched, they're always using something that's pointy. If you ever notice that, it's always something that's pointing. These are symbolic gestures of your wand.
Wow. That's a good question, because I've always been really self-conscious about my songwriting. And I do write different. I write very forward in my messaging. It's not like subliminal. I'm not saying subliminal, but there's a different word that I'm looking for. But my story is literally right in front of you when I'm creating music. There's nothing to really uncover. I'm literally going to hit you in the face with the message. That's basically. So that's my unique way of writing music, because most of the music that I write and produce is very socially conscious music, very much so. I have a song that's called Free and Bold, where I talk about just some of the things that we deal with in our society, and to, the song when I'm performing, and I always ask the audience, if you're free and bold, stand up and, dance with me and let's connect, things like that. And then I also have a song that's called Hear Me Roar. And it is a very socially aware song. And it talks about how I'm going to, or whoever's listening to the song can overcome the challenges and, hear me roar as I'm fighting for my life. I'm not going to give up without a fight. And that's what this, and so but it's right in your face. That message is right in your face. And it's going to empower you as you're listening to it and as you're, moving forward through your day. So I would say that is the unique element of my music. It's forward and it's very empowering.
Like that. I like what you said too. You don't put any Easter eggs in there. Everything is up front. You can see it.
In your
You know where.
face. It
Ain't
is
nothing wrong with that.
direct.
Hey,
but
you know.
it's not like, it's very direct, but it's still really good to hear. You know what I mean? It still feels the soul. Um, when I started writing music, I didn't realize that I was going to write music that was so focused on the truth. But most artists are focused, when they write, it kind of leans that direction, or usually originally, because artists can see so much in great detail beyond the surface. And that's why there's a lot of people in the creative space who suffer with depression and other things because of the awareness, that social awareness around us is sometimes hard to deal with.
No, you're right. And I found out that nature and your passion can help assist and combat a lot of that depression. Like someone said, I read this meme, and it's true. I don't know who created it. It says that the reason why people suffer from so much depression, we're living, like you said earlier, we're living lies for other people. So you're living a false narrative. You're trying to appease someone else so you can be in a collective, in a group. Individuality, like you said, also with school, it stomps that out. You have to sit at a desk, and some of us a little bit weightier, some of us a little bit taller. Some people legs are longer, some people arms are longer, some people are discomfort in their body. They can't just go and sit in a classroom at a hard desk. But we're all forced and conditioned to be in the same. It really is a race. If you think about this, which is true, on the planet that we call Earth in modern times, there really is only but one race. It's just the original race. The original race are the dark-skinned people on the planet. Science tells us this. This is not something that we're making up. This comes from even white scientists, so to speak, or Eurocentric scientists. They say that the melanated people have the strongest genes. Even when we look at the movie Get Out, because these movies be giving you a lot of gems in them if you really pay attention. The man says to the main character, the guy, I forgot his name, who's also in Black Panther. The guy says to him, he's blind, he's a photographer, because the black guy is a photographer. He says, man, it's not about your race. I want your eyes. I want your strength. And even when the lady was researching different black men to attack, we know now your genes are stronger. This is why there are millions of black kids missing. There are millions of black women missing. There are millions of black men missing. Your body parts are the parts of the original race on the planet. It's not racism, it's realism. Because we look at Elijah Muhammad. He said this back in the 20s, early 1900s. Now they have this new lady named Jane Elliott, this white lady. She's saying the same exact thing, and people are cheering and high-fiving her. You got a lot of black teachers that's been saying the same thing. Your organs have always been up for sale on this so-called black market.
Yes. And I have been telling a lot of people to take being an organ donor off of their driver's license. I had that, and as soon as I realized what was, that our organs are extremely valuable because of how rich they are and how they hold so many unique elements that other races don't have, that people want. And I said, let me get this off my driver's license. And I tell people all the time, take it off, take it off, take it off. I've heard the stories of how, like you said, people will go missing, or there'll be like crazy accidents, car accidents and things like that, because people are targeted, for their organs. And it's unfortunate, but it's our reality. It can happen to anybody. But the start is just, at least, if you can't do anything else, just at least take that off of your driver's license, even though that's a good thing to have. As Black people, it's so risky. You know what I mean? Like, with everything going on, you just don't know, it's just so sad.
It is. And the truth of the matter, if you want to look at, like I was saying, like, to me, there's no race, there's only culture. But when you look at it, if you mix anything with black or brown or beige, light skin, pecan, tan, mocha, red, caramel, yellow bone, whatever flavor that we have, it's going to come out brown and black. So it's only truly one essence of one race. Everything else is a derivative of that. They tell us even in mitochondrial DNA, what they call the out of Africa theory, or the mother of Eve. I think I'm gonna pronounce the name wrong. Called that shit that they made the movie Lucy about. And by the way, for the people that don't know, anytime you have a character that's in the movie, if they have dark black hair or brown hair, the main character, that person is the black person that's representing. Because we know now Will Smith's supposed to have been in The Matrix. People don't know that. He chose Wild Wild West over The Matrix. He didn't know, so people don't be mad with him. So that's why you have Keanu Reeves in the movie with dark black hair. He represents the one. But just to the point quickly, with mitochondrial DNA, it shows that we have the black woman has the original and oldest DNA on the planet. So yep. In contrary to the book called the Bible, the black woman was on the planet first. Because we go back and we can read the story about Seshat in Africa and many other stories. And it only makes sense because the woman, from her rib comes the man, because that's her womb.
Right. When you look at a black woman, what do you see?
God.
You see God? I see earth.
That too. God is earth.
When I see a black woman, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's earth. She is earth. When you look at earth and you look at the skin and the makeup of black woman, looks like the earth and the ground and life. I'm just like, how do people not see this? I see it. And it astounds me, just like what's going on with like the attack of the black woman. And it's like the attack of earth, the attack of the beginning. And it's overwhelming, and maybe that is the attack. Maybe that is the reason for the attack, because Black women hold so much power in just the being of a Black woman, of being earth, being the beginning. And so I'm still figuring out a lot myself, but that's so obvious to me. When I see Black women, I'm just like, oh, earth, beautiful. I look at the soil on the ground. I'm just like, beautiful Black skin, beautiful. It's interesting we're talking about this, because I totally agree with you. I didn't know today's conversation was going to go this direction, but I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm all for a good conversation, like I told you already. And I am so enlightened today. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be on your platform and just to get to know you.
You too as well. I thank you. Just a couple more things. I'm not going to hold you too much longer because I know you got to go. Been rocking with you almost an hour. And I just want to confirm something. What you're saying is actually correct for me in my understanding. The first throne that I sat upon was my Mother Earth. I can look back at my pictures and see I'm sitting in my mother's lap. That's the first throne that I'm sitting on. I'm weaning from the drink of life, the liquid of life. I don't need milk from a cow. I'm getting milk directly from her breast to sustain my life. And blood grows strong bones, not milk. People don't know that. How do you strengthen your blood? Real protein, real vitamin D, the sun. 15 minutes, 20 minutes in the sun for a melanated person on the planet is like getting divine milk from the other essence of what we refer to as God.
I needed to hear that today. Thank you. Thank you for that reminder. And I'm going to share with you really quickly why. My dad's having some medical problems, and his blood has a lot to do with it. And I had did some research on some ways to increase the oxygen in his blood. And one of the ways is to get outside, get some air, get some sun. But just that reminder of that vitamin D, I'm like, and he wants to go somewhere today and get out and walk in the park. So after this podcast, I am going to go take him and get him in the sunniest place I can find him. And I'm going to make sure he gets out in that sun every single day, because that's going to help him recover.
It certainly will. And if you need help from the earth, let me give you this website. They're really dope. They was on Steve Harvey. I use a lot of their things. They are a Black-owned company. Black operated company. Let me say that, because some people be like, I'm more than a black company. Yeah, you're right. You're a black operated company. Let's see. They're really good. I've been using a lot of their stuff.
And while you're looking that up, I just want to encourage anyone who's watching or listening. If you have dark skin, if you have color to your skin, melanin to your skin, get as much sun as you possibly can. You need the sun. Do not sit up in the house all day. I know Corona is here and it's got us in the house, but you need sun for your health, because sitting in the house is not good for just the healing of your body, the conditioning of your body, the continued flow of your oxygen in your blood and things like that. When we're in the house, we don't have that sun. We're not getting fresh oxygen. It really can start to break down the body. And people don't talk about this, but this is really important. So get out in the sun, and I'm going to get me some sun today. So, and I hope you get some too.
Oh yeah, I definitely will.
Thank you for sharing that with me.
Oh, thank you. And also know too, anything that goes wrong in the body, a lot of times it's in the gut. If you notice that someone has a protruding gut, it's probably a gluten stomach, which means, think about the word gluten for a moment. That means it's glue in the food. Processed foods don't have to be processed. You shouldn't have to go to a company like McDonald's, drop a fry in your car, find it a year from now, you could throw it back in the microwave and cook it. That's not real potatoes. Real potatoes can't stay out more than a night. I don't even keep them out that long. But you're talking about a whole year. A potato is in your car. You could throw it in the microwave. They got experiments on YouTube too. So I won't hold you too much longer. Give us your social media. How do we reach out and connect with you? Whether we be independent artists or major artists, you just never know.
Yes. So you can find me, the social media handle Latoya Cooper, the songstress, on all major music platforms and all social media major platforms as well. You can also email me directly at contact@musicmeetstheboardroom.com, and I will return your email for sure.
Absolutely. One final thing before I let you go. Well, two final things. This part is the game part of the portion of the show. We've had such a deep and intellectual connection, and I appreciate that too. It's so healing to speak with you, to sit with you, to be around your very essence. Even though we're nowhere near close to each other, I can still feel your vibe, and it's a very warm and cool and smooth and amazing feeling. All right. So this part of the game is called the Game of Sevens. Latoya Cooper, you are tasked to find. Let me show you this. There's 7. The number 7 is so divine. It's been around you your whole entire life. You just probably never paid attention to it until somebody highlights it. So let's go. The Game of Sevens is, think about this for a moment. You said that you were dyslexic. You see numbers really the correct way. You see language really the correct way. It is these laws, it is these programming that's designed to confuse you, to make you think that something is wrong with you when it's not. Let's go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. The 7th letter of the alphabet is G. G could be for God, it could be for goddess, it could be for grand architect if you belong to a secret society or an order. It's all one and the same thing. The number 7 is in the Bible too. God rested on the Sabbath. Some people say they Sabbath is Friday. Some people say they Sabbath is Saturday, Sunday, and somebody just told me they Sabbath is Monday. I don't think it really makes a difference, because the essence of time really does not exist. Time is the measurement of the sun. Also, we know the number 7, people play in the lottery all the time. Go get me those quad 7s, those triple 7s. Get that lucky scratch off number 7. Everybody's chasing after this 7. So, Latoya, you have to find 7 people in history that is going to be a part of your organization in any kind of way that you want them to be. But you're also going on a world tour, and you're hitting every country, every state, every city. You're spreading your wisdom, your knowledge, your brand. You're telling people, like you told me in this interview, about someone starting that type of class to where it can help people, that university. You are the 7th university. And the most important part, you can study this for yourself. The number 7 is also an L. Everything that's built is built on right angles. Every structure to every building. You can go ask any contractor you want. You have to have that right angle structure to keep the building up. Guess what? You put up another structure, even if it's to the left, but for you, you see it on the right, And you see this on the left. It's backwards. Or the correct way, not even backwards. Let me correct myself. See, programming gets us all. When you put the two sevens together, you got the strongest structure on the planet. I know in, sororities, I think it was the Deltas, they throw that sign up. Jay-Z throw up the sign, they done put it to the Illuminati. Ooh, scary, scary. But all it means, this is the strongest structure on the planet. That's why the pyramids have lasted for as long as they have lasted. With that being said, you got to choose 7 people in history. They could be living or they could have passed on. You can call their spirit back into the earth. You can reincarnate them. What 7 people, living or dead, is going on this Latoya Cooper World Tour?
Ooh, okay. You said they can be living or have passed as well.
Have passed. You can bring them back.
Okay. 7. Okay. Tina Marie for sure. I don't know if you're a Tina Marie fan. Love her. Anita Baker, Jill Scott, Luther Vandross, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston. I got one more.
Living or dead?
Nancy Wilson. She's a jazz singer. Out of the tree of life, pick me a song, something like that. Yeah, I don't mess up a song too bad, but yeah. He came along and everyone's starting to hum. Yeah, so yeah.
Sing with that beautiful voice. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And important to you, if I may, give you your flowers, your diamonds, your roses, your more business capital. I don't know, whatever you need to help yourself grow. Thank you for coming into this conscious reality that we call life. You are a dope human being. You are a true testament to the essence of goodness and growth and development and wisdom and knowledge and building and structure. I have enjoyed myself in this conversation with you. It's been more than a conversation. This has been an astral. We have traveled through many more vortexes and dimensions, just sitting right here as I travel through your mind, your spirit, and your soul. Thank you for being on the show today. And before I let you go, if you could let the people know you're on My Celebrity Life, and I'm GeHolla, and we'll be up out of here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And I am just so grateful for this time. And thank you for allowing me to be a guest here.
Absolutely. Then just let the people know that you're with GeHolla on My Celebrity Life.
I am on GeHolla on My Celebrity Life podcast.
No, that's right. Absolutely. I appreciate you. Please have a good day. And thank you. You're always welcome to come back on anytime you just want to talk and build it down.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. And I would love to stay in contact because you have something great here. I am loving this. I'm loving this.
I'll put the number in there. Let's see.
I want to make sure I copy what you sent in the chat because I'm going to use it. My mom has been saying the same thing about clean the gut, all that stuff. She's been just talking about it. And we have been working to get that under control for my dad. So, yeah.
If you think about this, because the body is just a vehicle or a vessel. If whether it's a computer, it doesn't matter. We'll use a car. Cars is more the analogy we can really gravitate to. If something is wrong with the engine of the car, whether it got like oil leakage, it got gunk in it, has some type of backup, the carburetor is dirty. Normally what you do, sometimes some things, especially with like a lawnmower too, you could just take the little filter out, wash it off or replace the filter or just have it cleansed, which is just washed. And you almost got a brand new car or flushed. And some people will call it flushed in the medical thing. Your body will begin to heal because your body is so smart, it's so intuitive. The stuff that we're putting in it is not real food, calling it processed. What is a process? Nature grows. There's no process in nature. You can use that word interchangeably, but nature grows. There's no process. So you're eating this stuff and it's stuck in you. It doesn't know where to go. It's creating more toxins. And now your body, because you got your white blood cells ripped, it's fighting against this stuff. And it's like, what is this? It won't move. Because a person, everybody, okay, how thick or skinny you are, everybody should go to the bathroom at least 2 times a day. When I say number 2, for those out there, or the backside of you, you have to go to the bathroom at least 2 times. You're not doing that. So imagine a car has nasty oil in it. And the oil is stinking and it's clunky because oil is supposed to be thin, almost kind of somewhat similar to water. And it's thick and it's trying to go through that engine. It's trying to run through your system and it's just clogging it up. Yeah. This is what we're doing to our bodies.
This is what we're doing to our bodies. Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree. Um, I just bought him a probiotic and I'm hoping that helps quite a bit. I got him a good one. So we're gonna and we have a really healthy diet, lots of cooking, lots of vegetables, lots of fruit, lots of organic um, methods and things like that. So we are excited about how that's going to show up for him on a positive note. And you're right. And thank you for sharing all this because I need to hear this because I've got to learn as much as I can to help him get well. And information is power. So thank you.
It is. Thank you. And also remember, an old school enema, even if you have to go to like a doctor or clinic that does that, will help you too, because a lot of that stuff, if you can get in there and have it just drain out, he'll start feeling a whole lot better.
I freaking love you. You know why? Because it's like we just met each other. We have this podcast and we went from like I mean, when you say we went around the world, we went around the world. We didn't been around the body. Like we didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like yes. So, but so entertaining. Thank you so much. But yes, thank you, everybody.
All right. With that being said, we are out, ladies and gentlemen. That was Latoya Cooper. Much love, double heart to you. Salute you, Queen, and thank you.
Bye, everybody.